Let's talk a bunch of different topics.
How'd her career get there?
This is a podcast with Lauren Asghari.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening. Hit that like button, leave a positive comment, or hit subscribe to get alerted when new episodes drop. All of this will help keep the project going. Thank you for your support and enjoy the episode. This is the Lauren Asghari podcast, How'd Her Career Get There? And my guest today is Christian Pulley, who is the city administrator for the City of Laurel, a daily record Maryland Top 100 Women recipient, and the people's champion, we'll say, who really gets a lot of satisfaction from working with people in the community to help them thrive. So I'm excited to get into the conversation. So welcome, Christian.
Thanks, Lauren. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome.
I'm very interested to talk to you because I often think about just I'll call it public service, right? Not only community involvement, but just kind of municipalities and government workings at all different levels, and what it takes to run or help run a city at any level. So let's start with kind of present day. What does a city administrator do?
Wow. So a city administrator does a little bit of everything. Overall, we're responsible for handling the day-to-day operations for the community. I work for the City of Laurel, as you mentioned, and I am under a strong mayor form of government where our current mayor, Keith R. Sidnor, he serves as our mayor. He is the chief executive officer for the community, and I report directly to him. However, I handle all the departments responsible for overseeing the police department, emergency management, and all the other departments. Get pulled in a lot of different directions. I always have a to-do list, but I never complete it because I always get pulled away to do something else.
And when you let's kind of get in our time machine a little bit. Back when you were a kid. Well, let's give some background first, actually.
Okay.
Where did you grow up? The only child, siblings? What were you like as a kid? Let's start there.
So I grew up, first and foremost, I'm originally from New Jersey. I have one older sibling. Unfortunately, my parents divorced when I was 12. And then my mom transitioned when I was just 15. So I spent part of my teenage years in Michigan with my grandparents. And when I was in Michigan, I learned a lot from them. That's where I developed hard work, discipline, and the value of education. But then once I finished high school, I moved back to New Jersey and attended Rutgers University. And I'm grateful for that opportunity because my father instilled in my sister and I the importance of being strong, independent women in this man's world. And then once I graduated Rutgers, I moved to Maryland and attended Morgan State University.
Nice. And at Morgan State, that was for graduate school, or you finished your undergrad there?
Now I finished my undergrad at Rutgers University, and I went to Morgan State for grad school where I focused on city planning.
Gotcha. When you were a kid, what do you remember thinking what you aspired to be as an adult?
Honestly, I never dreamed of wanting to be a doctor or a lawyer or a model or any of those things. Honestly, I just really enjoyed going to New York City every weekend and going on an adventure because every weekend that's what my family did. But once I started getting a little older, teenage years, I wanted to major in psychology because I had a love for human behavior, but I also had a love for business development. But once I got to undergrad at Rutgers University, all that changed when I took an Intro to Urban Studies course, and then my mind just blew open and wanted to become a city planner.
What was it about that course or that the city planning component that struck you? What part of that job were you like, wow, this really speaks to me?
Well, it's interesting because instead of studying human behavior, it was studying communities, studying cities. And like I mentioned, as a child, we always traveled, whether it was coming to Washington, D.C., going to various parts of Atlantic City, even into Michigan. And I just saw how different communities were. Some were underdeveloped, some were beautiful. And I just became very fascinated. And even to this day, even though I'm no longer in planning, I'm still like, wow, why did they do that parking like that for that shopping center? Or why do they have a planned community here where it should be condos or mixed use or so forth? Sometimes my family is like, okay, here we go again.
I love that. I do that too sometimes. Like looking, I own a business and I also own some real estate. And it's funny because I find myself, I don't always vocalize it because then to your point, my family would also tell me like, all right, got it, enough. But I go into places sometimes and I just think like, why is this business operating this way? Or what's the efficiency of what they're doing? Or why is this set like this and not like this? Like it's just an interesting way that your mind automatically works that way.
That's true.
When you were a kid, what were you like? What were some of your personality traits?
Well, when I was a kid, I think I was more outgoing as a kid than I am now. Today, I feel like I'm a total introvert, even though some would disagree. I was very outgoing. I love sports, which I still do to this day. I was probably a pest to my older sister. I was always one to follow her around and be with her and her friends. I probably was a brat when I was growing up.
What are some of the sports that you get into?
Basketball, football. I would watch football every weekend with my father.
Now, does that make you Jersey? So what team? What's your NFL team?
I'm a Giants fan. Unfortunately, we've been having some rough years, but I'm a Giants fan.
Well, I'm a Ravens fan, and we've been having a couple of, I don't know years, but weeks for sure. A couple of rough weeks. So
far, you guys are having a tough season.
Yeah, yeah. So fast forward and we go to graduate school and we're focused on, I think you said, was it urban planning or city planning?
City and regional planning at Morgan State, yes.
And then so you get that degree. And at the time when you got that, did you know, okay, when I get this degree, I have the intention of graduating and doing a specific thing? Or were you thinking, this interests me, let me get the degree and then I'll see how I progress from there?
Honestly, when I graduated from school, I always wanted to be a city planner. However, it took approximately about 3 years to land a city planning job with the City of Laurel. So in the interim, I worked in the housing world where I worked for both two nonprofits, one focused on fair housing in Baltimore, and then the other organization, which is the National Low Income Housing Coalition in Washington, D.C., where I focus on housing policy and advocacy for the lowest income individuals throughout the country.
And what, if we're talking through kind of your career progression, give kind of a abbreviated, but obviously share whatever information you think is relevant or might be useful for our audience or people that are interested in city administration. How do you get from graduating college to your job today?
It takes the ability, one, to be excellent at oral and written communication, have to be well versed with presenting before public bodies and working with elected officials. Usually, a lot of times, people that get into public administration has a specialized area prior to public administration, whether it's human resources, finance, economic development, engineering background. And just for me, it happened to be city planning and economic development.
And then what's the actual like path? Like if somebody today is, in school, right? So picture that you're talking to a 20-year-old who's a junior or senior in college and right. They say, hey, I'm interested in doing city administration or getting involved in city planning and any of those types of things at the city level for communities. How do they... What's their path to do that? I mean, do they just go, hey, get an entry-level job working at the city and kind of work your way up? Or what advice would you have for them?
That could definitely be one path, which was the path for me as I started as an entry-level planner, then worked my way up at the city level from a planner, senior planner, then assistant director of the department, then a director, and then I transitioned to the administration side as a deputy city administrator and then city administrator. However, one can major in public administration, or they can major in public policy, political science, or those are some of the aspects of things. But also, I would say volunteer at their local community, go to their council meetings, become very engaged with their local community to see if it is a good fit for them. Because sometimes you may think you're really interested in local government, but honestly, you might not be. You might become a policy wonk that wants to be behind the scenes and do all the work, but don't want to be in front of the camera, presenting at the council meetings, dealing with citizen complaints and so forth.
What is that? That leads me to kind of my next question. What is what's the best part of your job?
Honestly, the best part of my job, even though I'm not in city planning anymore, is when an applicant comes to the city. Either they want to start a new business or they want to develop a project, and to see it from the beginning, the baby stages, go through the approval process. And then when they cut the ribbon for their business to open up, or for that, when that community is finally developed. So that's one of my biggest loves for city government and the city planning aspect of things. But from administration side, I think it's honestly when the council approves certain things like grants to put out into the community, whether it's to help with buying a home or to start a business. So those are some of the things that I really find value within being a city administrator.
And on the flip side of that, what's the underbelly or the parts that people don't really talk about that makes the job more difficult, or that you're like, oh, this again?
I think doesn't make the job difficult, but it does make I'll take that back. It does make the job difficult at times. At times, sometimes it takes a little bit to solve, a little bit of time to solve a problem. When we get a lot of residents' complaints about things, we have to work with the various departments to learn what the issue is, talk with management or the business owner or the property owner about the situation, and work through everything to get the problem resolved. And sometimes that takes time. And then sometimes within the community, they don't understand it takes time. But I think that is one thing. And then also just some of the negative perceptions that not even just with local government, but all industries, you have the embezzlement, people hiring their friends or their family just to get them in the door. So some of those type of things.
Do you think that what's your perspective on how to change the narrative around that? Like the people that do have the, maybe misconceptions, or I say misconceptions, maybe it's built on this percentage of truth, right? Because those things happen, but then it becomes inflated to form a maybe an opinion that isn't accurate. What do people have wrong about city government or government officials at kind of the city and state level even?
I would say probably, I wouldn't say it's all the time, but I would say sometimes people may feel that elected officials or appointed officials or even city employees don't care about their job. They're just there to collect a check, that they're not responsive, but that's not always the case. Once again, like I said, sometimes it takes a little bit of effort and research to be able to solve a problem.
Hmm. It's interesting you say that, because I feel like that could be applicable to any job anywhere.
Any industry, any job, it's applicable for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that one thing that your father really instilled in you and your sister was raising strong, independent women. What were some of the specific traits that you had as a child that you remember being taught as a child? And it can be by your father or your mother or any other mentor or relative. But who taught you it? What were the specific traits that you've learned as a kid that you carry through to today that have really served you?
Wow, it's so many, but I would have to say with my father, once again, teaching my sister and I how to be very strong and proud of who we are. He would like show us how to check our oil, how to change a tire, how to pump gas, even though in New Jersey you don't pump your own gas. He really wanted us to make sure that his girls knew how to do any and everything with not having to depend on anyone. So for sure that, and then when my grandparents just instilled in us the value of hard work and dedication and believing in yourself and not dimming your light for anyone.
I love that, and I want to double click into that a little more, because I think what you said there is really impactful. What part of talk about your own experience, or if you've had it, where, and you can take it one of two ways. Believing in yourself, right? That's the overarching theme for my question. Was there a time where you didn't believe in yourself and afterwards, like you learned something from it, or somebody else didn't believe in you, but you believed enough in yourself that you overcame it, and the outcome of it was X?
Oh, my first job, my first full-time job out of grad school, once again, I was working for the Baltimore nonprofit, and I actually got laid off from that job. And at the time, I wasn't upset about it or anything. I just remember my sister being more upset about me being laid off than I was. But I remember in the exit interview talking to the bosses about everything, and they were like, "Well, how are you feeling about, being laid off?" And I just told them very calmly, and I said, "I'm fine. I'm destined for greatness. I'm gonna be okay."
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. What was what was the this is like I'm trying to think where to take this. You wanted to be a psychology major, so you'll appreciate this question, I think. What was is that nature or nurture? Like for you personally, is that something like, hey, I just came out this way? Or is that something that like my parents and other people when I was growing up really instilled a belief in me that to have that type of confidence? Because not everybody would have that type of confidence coming out of it.
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. For me, I had very confident parents and grandparents, and my sister. My family lineage is very strong, very confident, very dominant. But sometimes I'm not as dominant and confident, but I have that quiet power, quiet belief. A lot of people call me the silent assassin. So I think it's a little bit of both nature and nurture. You just have to figure out which one to tap into more for different situations.
What's hard for you? Like from
Sometimes,
yeah, go ahead.
sometimes for me, what's hard is being patient. I like to get the job done, and sometimes I'm not as patient. So I'm learning to be a little bit more patient as I get older. And also, sometimes it's hard for me to let other people solve their problem for themselves. Sometimes I just jump immediately in the problem solving mode, and that doesn't do anybody any good for professional development.
So for people that are similar to you, which I would imagine are anybody who can rise to a position of authority, right? I mean, you have to have kind of that ability to navigate through problems and push through, right? And kind of get rid of some of the noise, which naturally probably make people impatient, right? And like, okay, jumping in like, okay, let's go. Like I can solve it. Come on, let's move along and keep things moving. So for people that fit that profile, if you're talking to that person, what guidance or advice would you have or have you done for yourself to kind of like, because I'd imagine that you have to like interrupt your own patterns, right? Like I want to jump in and help, and like I've got to pull myself back. Like how did you learn that about yourself, and how have you learned or still learning to like what strategies are you using to kind of catch yourself?
Sleep for me, so I'm a very observant person, and I'm also a very laid back alpha female, if that makes sense. I don't know how you can be laid back and an alpha female, but I think
love it.
I balance it really well. So I like to always see what other people are going to do to try to problem solve an issue before I immediately jump in and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. I let everyone talk about it and hash out their ideas. And if I don't think it's going in the right direction to get us to the finish line, and then I'll step in and say, maybe we need to go in this direction and we need to do it ASAP.
Gotcha. What if you were giving advice to your younger self, what would you tell yourself?
Advice to my younger self, I think I will constantly tell myself to always speak up and don't dim your light. Sometimes, and this is just for everyone, I think sometimes we get caught up in what other people may see or imposter syndrome and don't think we can accomplish certain things. But if we always believe in ourselves, stay rooted in faith, you'll be fine.
What on that part, the imposter syndrome and the getting caught up on other people's opinions? Can you share an experience like speaking to that same audience who maybe still gets themselves stuck in that, right? I'm not good enough. So and so said I wasn't good enough. If I try this and fail at it, like people are going to judge me for doing it, like whatever the thing is. Do you have any experience for you where in your past you've suffered from suffered is probably way too dramatic of a term, but you felt imposter syndrome, or you did feel too judged by what other people might say and it held you back, and looking back, like you're like, I'm a big believer of like, you can't lie to yourself, right? So, I didn't do that because I was afraid that somebody else was going to judge me on it. Or shoot, I'm here and I feel like I'm over my skis and I'm uncomfortable being here, so I have imposter syndrome. Like, can you share one of your experiences around that and how you either overcame it or learned from it?
Absolutely. I think for me, when I transitioned from city planning into the administration side of things, I doubted myself at first. I had to do a lot of learning. It took place during COVID, so it was just so different. I was learning a lot of different policies for COVID, what we could do per the state, what we couldn't do. On top of that, learning my new role as the deputy city administrator. So I had to learn running a budget team to get the budget to council on time, just a lot of different things. So when I first transitioned into the role, I was like, can I really do this? Am I over my head? But so far, I think it's been pretty good.
And you've talked about just in your it's funny, your nickname Silent Assassin, and just kind of your approach to I don't want to misquote what you said earlier, but reserved or quiet, like alpha female, right? Like the something that blended that. I think I got some version of that right. What, like, to the people out there that maybe question themselves for being, I think there's a lot of value for people being like not necessarily the loudest in the room, right? And there's studies that have been shown. I don't want to like misquote this, right? So
Right.
do your own research, people. Don't like, leave in the comments that what I'm saying is wrong. But something about how people that are more introverted sometimes can sit back and observe. And then when they speak, their thoughts are actually more like they've done more observing. So they have kind of more synthesized thoughts.
Thoughts, yep.
Yeah. So what is your perspective for the people? But then on the flip side, whether it's and I don't know if it's this way at the city level, but it's sometimes in more private sector. It's like, okay, you have to vocalize, you have to make yourself seen, you have to make yourself heard, right? You have to be recognized to get approval from your boss or recognition or move up. So what do you say to the people that like maybe that are similar to you in the sense of, hey, I have these, I feel confident in myself, but I don't feel the need to always put it out there. And I feel like that might be hurting me in some ways. Like, do you feel like sometimes that was to your detriment in any way? Or how do you just navigate like being true to your personality in a way that still allows you to, progress your not only your own career, but like your agenda at your job also?
Honestly, once again, it all comes back down to communication and one's communication style. Once again, I'm an introvert and pretty laid back. However, I know with my role, I'm very public facing and have to be quote unquote on a lot of the time. So I find a way to either communicate one-on-one or in small groups to get my point across. Or if I'm in a meeting and need to follow up with someone or talk to an elected official or my boss, I will either do it in a one-on-one setting or a small group setting just to get my point across or to retrain my thoughts to get to the finish line.
Gotcha. And for if you're talking to, you had mentioned earlier, like work ethic or working hard. How important is that in achieving what you've achieved and even what your future aspirations might be? How does work ethic play into your success?
And I think it plays a very pivotal role for me. I hate to say this, but I am an overachiever. I can accomplish something and I'm already thinking about what's next. And sometimes I don't like that about myself. I never take the time to enjoy the moment where I am now. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do next? Where do I want to transition to? What class am I going to take to be learning? I am a avid learner. I'm always wanting to learn more. So those are some of the things. And I think no matter what field people are in, they have to kind of strike a good balance of hard work, but also nice rest so you don't burn yourself out.
How do you do that? Like, what's that integration for you between work and personal? And I don't like to say balance, but just the integration of it between working hard to accomplish what your goals are and making sure that you get enough time for rest. Like, are there times where you reach burnout and then you have to like talk yourself back off, or have you kind of developed a flow? Like, how do you manage that?
For me, it took a while for me to get here. I'll probably say I've learned it within the last about 5-6 years. It's I work very hard, sometimes very late nights or early mornings, but also on the flip side, at least one day on the weekend I try to have time just for myself, whether it's with my loved ones or traveling, but or reading a book or just watching football on Sunday on the couch. I make the time for myself and I do whatever I want to do. I believe in traveling. I'm an avid traveler. I love going to sporting events, concerts. So I do make time for myself, but I know if I have a report to do or if it's budget season, I might not be able to enjoy some of those things. But once budget season's over, I'm going to try to take a quick trip.
Where do you like traveling? Like where's places that you've been that you're like, oh, I would go there again?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get back to Greece. So I'm definitely looking forward to go back to Greece. I can't wait to get over to Dubai because when I was about in my 20s, I had an opportunity to go develop the city to what it is now. And it was not the timing wasn't right for me, but that is one thing I wish I had an opportunity to do is go over
Dubai? Develop the city of Dubai? Wow.
Yes, back in the early 2000s, they were looking for city planners to come over there and help develop the city. And I was this close to going, but I did not. So
was that by choice or you weren't selected to go or
no, it was by choice. It was by choice. It was by choice. I didn't want to leave my family. So
okay.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to use the word regret. Would you have done that again or would you have gone knowing what you know now?
Knowing what I know now, I don't think I would have, I still wouldn't have went. I would say it's a missed opportunity, not a regret, but I'm super close with my family. So it's just a missed opportunity.
Yeah, which is family's the most important thing. So
absolutely, by far.
Yeah, I went to Greece. I'm with you. I love traveling. Like I just love it. It like really fills me up. Like just the new experiences of it. And even whether it's going local or overseas, but just the experiences of traveling, I really get into. Where did you go in Greece?
So we went to Athens, we went to Mykonos, and we went to Santorini.
Mm-hmm. We did not do Mykonos, but we did Athens, Santorini, and then I think Nafpilion. I might be mispronouncing that, but I think at one point might have been the capital city of Greece.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my history is right. Which again, fact check me there. But Athens was awesome.
It was. It reminded me of a big New York City.
Yes. So, are you a city girl more? Obviously.
I am a city girl at heart. I'm such a city dweller. I don't live in an urban city. However, one day I will. And I'm super excited to experience just to walk out my building, go to the coffee shop, go to a little bookstore, cafe, eat some lunch. I just love cities. The energy of the cities it does something to me.
Yeah. I went to New York a couple weekends ago and to your point, there's something about the energy, especially in like cities like that. I mean, that you step foot in there and you just feel it. And it's just
start walking different.
Yeah. You like have a little more swagger, a little more pep on the step. It's true.
Absolutely.
What are some things at the city level for the city of Laurel that have happened in the past like couple years that you're really proud of, and whether you were involved in them or not, just that for the city itself, you're like, that's a badge of honor for the city.
I think for me, from a personal and professional standpoint, my last planning project that I did with the city it was a very, very controversial project, but it ended up getting approved by the planning commission. It was a project where it was a golf course that was going to close down, and then they were going to redevelop it into a housing community. And they're almost finished with it now. And it's brought some energy and some revitalization to that side of town, which is awesome. I'm also proud that the city of Laurel is the first municipality within Prince George's County to be designated Main Street, part of the Main Street America program. The city of Laurel has the first winery within Prince George's County. We had our first bed and breakfast, which is in Prince George's County for the city. So some of those things, I really love the economic development aspects of things that draws people to the community and get a chance to spend some time there.
What's where do you think the areas of opportunity are? It sounds like there's been a lot of fantastic growth there. And we were talking before we started recording that my in-laws take my daughters to down to like Main Street Laurel to go get ice cream and some other things, and that it's really a nice, cute area. Where are some other areas of opportunity? I don't mean geography areas, but within the city, like when you kind of in your own mind fast forward years from now, we're not going to hold you to it, but where are some other things that you think, hey, it would be cool if like this city continued to evolve in this way?
Yeah. For the city to continue to evolve, of course, it will be business development, recruiting larger businesses to the community, some headquarter businesses, annexing some more land to do some more development projects, but also focus on the Route 1 corridor to do some redevelopment and revitalization efforts there as well. Next year, Preakness will be coming to Laurel Racetrack, which is just outside of the city limits. However, that's going to bring thousands of people to the area. So the city of Laurel is extremely excited about that opportunity to broadcast what our community does and to have people that probably never came to Laurel in the city for like a week. So that's going to be awesome.
I don't know how I missed that. I like live in Maryland, in the Baltimore metro area. And like I said, my in-laws are near the Laurel area. I don't know how I missed that Preakness is coming there. Is that for the first time? Is that like where the race is now from Pimlico?
It will be at Laurel Racetrack in 2026. And I believe this will be the first time it'll be held there. Yes.
Wow. That's super. That is very exciting for the
It's
city.
extremely excited. I'm ready to go. I want to get on the horse and ride one.
Yeah, that feels almost like a little it's like the Olympic, like a smaller version of like the Olympics coming. I mean, that's a major event. How exciting.
It's a huge event. It's a huge event. It's going to be a lot of eyes on the city, a lot of eyes on Laurel, the greater Laurel area as a whole, and I'm really excited for it.
Throughout your career, was there anyone or outside of family, but just in your career, anybody that had an impact on you? And when I say that, like they said this one thing that made you think about something substantially different, or, you walked out, you heard something in a meeting and you walked out and it shifted your perspective. Like, I feel like in everyone's life, there's kind of these one or two or more, but just like moments of impact where somebody says something or you form a relationship with somebody that can be a very like mentoring relationship. Have you had any of those types of experiences? And if so, can you share some? And if not, that's okay too.
I would say, honestly, I'm very fortunate at the city. I had quite a few people that poured into me. One was the Honorable Craig A. Moe, who took a chance on me and pointed me to be the city administrator. That was one person. Also, the late Carl Brendo, who was the planning director when I first started at the city. He poured into me a lot and taught me a lot about city planning. Also, I know you said no family, but I have to just say it. I have to say my sister. My sister, honestly, she pours into me a lot personally and professionally. And I call her my best friend and confidant in a lot of different ways. And I just love her dearly, and I'm fortunate to have her in that regard. But definitely those two people at the city, and then every city administrator prior to me taught me some great life lessons as well.
I love that you said your sister, and I have two daughters. And as a parent, I hope that I feel like what you just said would be the best compliment to a parent, right? Like, what is it about you and your sister's relationship? I'm not going to say that makes it so special, because I think that you kind of answer that just now, but was it always like that in your childhood? Like, what were the things that kind of bind you guys and have continued to just over time into your adult life?
So no, it wasn't always like that. Like I said, I was a brat growing up and I got on her nerves, I'm sure. But I think first and foremost, when our mother died, that bounded us together. We're 9 years apart. So she did kind of assume the mother role in some regards. So I think that's what did it.
How old were you when your mother passed?
15.
This might be a very hard question. I have not experienced that and I cannot imagine it. But to someone out there who's listening who had a similar experience, what do you say to them?
Yeah. Honestly, if you could get over, I would say you never get over a death of a parent, but if you learn how to work through it, you can accomplish and overcome anything.
Well, that I'm sure that your mom is looking down and would be proud of everything that you've accomplished and the type of person that you've turned out to be. So,
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I want to switch. I have one more question before we get to rapid fire.
Okay.
But before I ask my last question, is there anything that you want to touch on or cover that we haven't covered?
Lauren, I think you did a great job asking some questions. So I don't have anything, surprisingly.
All right. All right. If people want to learn more about just what's going on in the city of Laurel or learn more about like some of the things that have happened there or people that are interested in moving to the city, what's the best way that they can, either get in touch with you or just learn about the city in general?
Sure, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm available on LinkedIn. Also, the City of Laurel is on all social media platforms. Our website is a good tool for people to connect and learn more about the city. Also, we have a newsletter, Live in Laurel newsletter. People could go to our website to sign on to that and learn more about the community. We have a YouTube channel that covers some of our events and our meetings that we have. So those are some of the best ways. We're looking for volunteers. So if people want to come out and volunteer, come on out. We can get you started.
All right, perfect. Volunteer, for those that are interested in volunteering, what type of activities or what types of things might the city need help with for volunteer work?
So we have a lot of boards and commissions that have a few vacancies. We have a multi-service center where it serves as a day center for the unhoused and people that are in transition. So we always need volunteers for the day center where they could come and just sit with the people, work at the front desk, participate in meal service and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. And same thing if they're interested in volunteering, just go to the City of Laurel and there should be pretty intuitive ways to figure out how to do that. Okay.
Absolutely. They could go to the website and find the page and send an email to the volunteer coordinator.
Great. Great. All right, my last question before we get to rapid fire is, how do you define success?
Ooh, that's a good question. For myself, I'm a young lady with a lot of accolades and titles and so forth, but I consider that to be a welcome bonus. For me, true success is optimum health, being able to take care of myself. All my basic needs are taken care of. Peace, love, joy, kindness, the love of my family, peace of mind. That's success to me.
I love it. Beautifully, beautifully said and wrapped up in a nice bow at the end. So love it. All right, I'm going to go into rapid fire. These are unrelated to anything we've talked about. It's just six questions, just first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Brick or stone? East Coast, West Coast?
East Coast.
Astronaut, deep sea diver?
Deep sea diver.
Mexican food or Italian food?
Mexican food, absolutely.
Sun or moon?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to do sun and moon. Sorry.
That's, hey, you know what? You make your own rules up. I like it. I like it. Sing or dance?
Dance.
And last one, out to dinner or cook at home?
Out to dinner.
All right. Well, Christian, thank you so much. This has been, I really enjoyed talking with you. I enjoyed learning more about just the path to get to involved in city administration and the planning component. That stuff is just very interesting to me in general. And I know that some of our audience out there who have interest in it too are going to get a lot of value from kind of hearing your path and your story. So thanks for being a guest.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day and a terrific week.
Likewise, likewise. And we will link up some of the places that you mentioned in the show notes, some of the resources that you mentioned about the City of Laurel. And we will we'll get that out on the show notes. And this is, to wrap us up, the Lauren Asghari podcast, How'd Her Career Get There? And again, my guest today was Christian Pulley, and we will see you next time.
Let's talk a bunch of different topics.
How'd her career get there?
This is a podcast with Lauren Ascari.